Welcome to the Shreveport Connection. This is Tommy. This video is on your first Raw for 2018, January 1st. And, by the way, Happy New Year! Birthdays for January 1st. Hall of Famer Jimmy Hart turned 75 years old. Rodney from the Mean Street Posse. And Kimberly Paige had a birthday. The Absolute Intense Wrestling promotion in Ohio announced that former WWE champion Psycho Sid has canceled his appearance at their show from Cleveland, according to the AIW. On Facebook, Sid is blaming the cancellation on President Donald Trump's travel ban. Promotion issued the following statement on Facebook and Twitter. We have some bad news to report. Our greatest fears have come true. Sid did not board his flight. After several phone calls, he finally answered when we got Hornswoggle's phone call. Sid claimed Donald Trump's travel ban prevented him from boarding his flight to Cleveland because of an unpaid speeding ticket, and he claimed that this is new government policy since he didn't have his passport, even though he was traveling within the United States and is a United States citizen. As they recorded his cancellation call just so there was proof of all this, and they did their best to play the audio on their website or for a future episode on their podcast. They apologized to all the fans who were excited to meet Sid, and unfortunately this coming 100% out of our control. We invested quite a bit of money into his appearance, and we have now lost out on close to $1,000. We will never get back on the airline tickets, hotels, and merchandise we had made for Sid. We're going to try to do our best to find a replacement and plan on spending the rest of the day making phone calls and trying to get somebody there to replace Sid. WWE superstar Lars Sullivan, NXT superstar Lars Sullivan, made an interesting tweet about wanting to injure people and end someone's career. He wrote the following: I'm out to injure people. Put them on the shelf for months. Right? Can't wait to have the opportunity to end someone's career. That would be ultimate accomplishment. Samoa Joe fought Roman Reigns in Toronto at Saturday night's live event until referees had to stop the match due to excessive amount of blood loss from Samoa Joe. According to a report by NoDQ.com, the officials made the decision to stop the match after realizing Joe kept bleeding after cleaning him up. Here's the footage of that incident. WWE Cruiserweight Champion Enzo Amore have confirmed that he will be missing tonight's Raw from Miami due to being hospitalized with an illness. It appears Enzo may be suffering from the same flu that sent Braun Strowman home from the holiday tour. No word yet on when Cedric Alexander will get his WWE Cruiserweight title shot. That was supposed to air on tonight on the show, but I'll keep you updated as I get the news. WWE did a segment on Raw that saw Nia Jax leave the arena to take Enzo a bowl of chicken noodle soup. He also added a video on his Instagram account following here. As Enzo Amore revealed in the Instagram story post that he was hospitalized at Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami. PW Insider reported that Enzo was sick earlier in the day and was sent to the hospital from backstage. The Instagram story had Enzo hooked up to an IV, as you can see in the picture on his Instagram account. Enzo has defended against Kalisto at recent WWE live events, but it appears he did not work Sunday's show. Braun Strowman was also sent home from the holiday tour with the flu. Paige is currently backstage for Raw in Miami, but word going around that she has not been cleared to return to the ring. According to PW Insider, Paige suffered an injury on last Wednesday's live event during a six-woman match. The belief is that Sasha Banks may have kicked Paige a bit too high, causing Paige to suffer a stinger. She did leave on her own, but she was pulled from the ring as a precautionary measure. John Cena posted a a photo to Instagram at this link of Matt Hardy from his broken days in Impact Wrestling. And Woken Hardy responded on Twitter. Cena often poses random photos with no captions to his Instagram and has used it to tease potential feuds in the past. So it's possibly they could be setting up a future feud. And you can see him on his Instagram link. WWE taped the following matches in Miami for the first main event episode of 2018. You had Dana Brooke versus Mickie James, Akira Tozawa versus Tony Nese. And the spoilers are Dana Brooke defeated Mickie James, Akira Tozawa defeated Tony Nese. First Raw 2018 opened up with Michael Coleslaw welcoming us to the show. He's joined in by Corey Graves and WWE Hall of Famer Booker T. They go over the show. We go backstage to Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss was trying to talk to the Raw General Manager Kurt Angle out of her match with Asuka for later on. Angle refused and said Bliss could settle her problems with Asuka in the ring tonight. Angle's music starts up and he walks off. Live from the American Airlines Arena in Miami, Florida, as Kurt Angle hits the ring, he welcomes us to the show. Angle talks about 2017. How 2017 was one of the best years of his career and says 2018 will be even greater. Angle talks about Royal Rumble pay-per-view and how John Cena has announced himself for the men's Rumble match. As some fans boo, Angle plugs the women's Rumble match and the crowd pops. Angle said fans are wondering about the rules for that match, and after talking with Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, and Daniel Bryan, they decided that the women's match will be just like the men's match as far as rules go. That means over the top rope. There will be 30 women in the match as well. Angle says he respects Raw to win both Rumble matches and go on to main event WrestleMania 34. As far as tonight, he has planned. Music interrupts and out comes the bar. Sheamus doesn't want to talk about tonight. He wants to talk about how the bar was robbed in last week's travesty. Sheamus complains about how the new team of Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan received a title shot. They enter the ring and Cesaro accuses Angle of playing favorites. Cesaro says what happened was too much. We see a replay of last week's title change. Sheamus says that the clip makes him sick. He accuses Angle of favoritism again. Cesaro says Angle's son did not deserve a title shot. Cesaro announced that they want their rematch tonight. Angle says they will get their rematch when he says so. They start arguing and the music interrupts. Out comes Raw Tag Team Champion Jason Jordan. Angle argues back and says stands on his own. More arguing leads to Angle making Jordan versus Cesaro for now. Music interrupts. Out comes Raw Tag Team Champion, his partner Seth Rollins. Rollins talks about how Jordan needs to learn to be a better partner and not to be so self-absorbed. Rollins says he will be in Jordan's corner, but a daddy's boy chant starts up. Rollins says he will be in Jordan's corner, but the only way he sees it is that he's out here to watch Jordan lose. Cesaro takes advantage of the distraction and knocks Jordan to the floor from behind. Rollins checks on him and tells him to get up, get back into the ring. We go to commercial. Cesaro versus Jordan was underway as it started during the break. Cesaro nailed Jordan in the corner. They run the ropes and Jordan drop kicks Cesaro for a 2 count. In the middle of the ring, Jordan with a shoulder thrust in the corner. Cesaro fights out of the corner with uppercuts. Cesaro with more offense before taking Jordan to the mat and keeping him grounded. Jordan gets up and out. Cesaro goes for a big uppercut off the ropes, but it's blocked. Jordan rams Cesaro from corner to corner. Sheamus gets on the apron to distract Jordan, allowing Cesaro to send him into the corner and take his knee out with a chop block. We get a replay of the distraction. Cesaro goes to work on the leg. Cesaro drop kicks the knees and slams Jordan's knee over the apron. Cesaro comes back in, keeps Jordan down in the middle of the ring. Continuing to focus on the knee, Jordan fights back and ends up nailing a clothesline. Jordan sends Cesaro to the floor, but Cesaro takes the leg out on the apron. Cesaro then slams the knee into the apron again. The bar celebrates on the floor with Jordan while Jordan is down clutching his knee. We go back to commercial. Back from the break. Cesaro continuing to beat on Jordan. Cesaro with a half crab. Jordan breaks and kicks Cesaro away. Cesaro with an uppercut and then another. Jordan slides out of a slam and manages to drop Cesaro, but the knee is giving him trouble. Jordan mounts some offense. Jordan with an overhead throw for a 2 count. Jordan with a thrust in the corner, but Cesaro fights back. Jordan with a bridging suplex. A couple of bridging suplexes only gets a 2 count. Rollins cheers Jordan on as he keeps control. Cesaro kicks the knee out and argues with the referee, allowing Sheamus to get a cheap shot in. Cesaro rolls Jordan up for a 2 count. Cesaro goes right into a half crab again, turning it into a full Boston crab. Jordan breaks a hold by grabbing the bottom rope. Cesaro shows some frustration. Sheamus goes for another cheap shot, but Rollins runs over and drops him. This leads to Jordan slamming Cesaro on his head for the win. After the match, Jordan celebrates and raises his title as his music plays. Also raises Rollins' hand as well, as Rollins is just staring at Adam's like, okay, I'll keep my hand raised. Jordan goes to ringside and celebrates, but leaves Rollins with his arm hanging in the air. Rollins then continues clapping and looks unsure about his partner. Renee Young backstage with WWE Intercontinental Champion Roman Reigns for comments on tonight's title defense and stipulation. Reigns says Samoa Joe got what he deserved last week, as he's ruined matches and he hurt Dean Ambrose. Reigns says Joe was not a good contender because he's a punk. Reigns says this week won't be any different. It's going to be ugly and intense. Reigns says he will stay within the rules. He hopes. Reigns walks off. Still to come segment, The Beast. We go to the ring. Out comes Bray Wyatt. Back to commercial. Back from the ring, we get a quick promo from Sasha Banks on how she will win the Royal Rumble. We get the second match, Bray Wyatt versus Apollo Crews. We go back in the ring and we get Bray Wyatt waiting as Titus Worldwide comes out. Thus we get Dana Brooke and Apollo Crews joining him at ringside. They lock up and go at it after some stalling. Crews with a headlock. Wyatt breaks out and rocks Crews into the corner. Wyatt tosses Crews to the apron. Wyatt shows off some and Crews rocks him. Crews with more offense and a big right hand for a 2 count. Crews with a headlock. Wyatt turns around for more back and forth. Dana cheers Crews on as he runs the ropes and nails a drop kick. Crews only gets a 2 count. Crews ends up going to the top, but Wyatt rocks him. Wyatt brings Crews to the mat with a jawbreaker from the top. Wyatt smiles. Wyatt stomps on Crews in front of his partners, staring at Dana to scare her. Back commercial. And back from the break, we get Wyatt having Crews grounded in the middle of the ring. They fight up, but Wyatt counters and launches himself at Crews for a 2 count. More back and forth until Crews makes a big comeback. Crews with a kip up and a pop. They end up on the floor as Titus cheers Crews on. They come back to the ring, and Wyatt turns back around with a big shot. Wyatt turns upside down in the corner and taunts Crews as he tries to get up. Dana gets on the apron and yells for a distraction, cheering on Crews. This leads to Dana falling off the apron onto Titus as she's terrified. Crews ends up going for an enziguri, but Wyatt nails Sister Abigail for the win. After the match, Wyatt stands tall as Crews and Titus check on Dana at ringside. Well, on the screen, Woken Matt Hardy suddenly appears on the Titantron. Matt says he transformed Wyatt's Fireflies into his Woken Warriors last week. Matt goes on and says he will delete Wyatt once Sister Abigail is no longer around. Matt laughs some more as he turns into several hundred images on the big screen. 1 picture leads to 2, leads to 4, leads to 8, 16, yada, yada, yada. So it covers the whole screen. Nia Jax backstage with some chicken noodle soup, leaving the arena to tend to Cruiserweight Champion Enzo Amore as he's sick. Alexa Bliss stops her and talks about facing Asuka tonight. Nia says Enzo needs her, but Bliss says it's either her or Enzo. Nia says she has to leave because the soup is getting cold. Alexa Bliss versus Asuka was up next. Back for the break, out comes Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss for the non-title match. As JoJo does formal ring introductions, we see a video from last week's in-ring segment with Bliss and Asuka. The Empress of Tomorrow was out next. They lock up to start the match, and we get a bit of back and forth and some stalling. Bliss avoids the spinning back fist and retreats to the ropes. They go to lock up again, but Bliss goes behind. They trade holds. Asuka ends up going for a knee bar, but Bliss scrambles and gets free. Asuka counters a move and applies a side headlock. Asuka taunts Bliss as she retreats to the ropes once again. They run the ropes and Asuka drops Bliss with a shoulder. Asuka mocks Bliss some more. They run the ropes again. And Asuka hits the hip attack. Asuka with some more showing off as Bliss watches from the floor and shows frustration. Bliss looks to return to the ring a few times, but we get some more stalling. Fans boo Bliss as she stalls on returning to the ring. Referee counts. Bliss finally returns to the ring, but Asuka takes her down and kicks her in the back. Then to the face. Bliss with a cheap kick to the gut before rolling back to the floor for some more stalling. Fans boo to go to commercial. Back from commercial, Bliss has Asuka grounded in a body scissors. Bliss keeps control and uses the steel ring post as referee counts and warns her. Bliss comes back in and unloads on Asuka with punches while she's down. Bliss gets a 2 count. Asuka fights up for a 2 count. Bliss ducks and kicks and rolls Asuka up for a pin attempt. Bliss comes right back with a backbreaker. Bliss mounts Asuka with more strikes. Bliss with big forearms and another 2 count. Bliss with a body scissors on Asuka. More back and forth before Bliss unloads in the corner. Bliss ends up nailing a big slap. Asuka fires right back. Bliss with smacks and shoves as Asuka tells her to bring it. Asuka just takes it. Asuka with drop kicks. Asuka then goes to the middle rope for a missile drop kick. Fans cheer for Asuka as she's fired up now. Asuka with a hip attack in the corner. Asuka with more offense and another hip attack. More back and forth. Asuka gets a 2 count. Asuka gets sent out of the ring now as Asuka kicks Bliss in the head from the floor. Comes right back into the ring. Asuka keeps control and drops Bliss into the armbar for the non-title submission win. After the match, Asuka stands tall and celebrates as we go to replays. Bliss clutches her leg outside on the floor. So she earned her title shot. And that just led us to a video package on tonight's Intercontinental title match. Renee Young backstage with Samoa Joe. Joe talks about how he owns Reigns and how the Shield will never be champion together. Joe says Dean Ambrose is now a stay-at-home husband living off his wife's paycheck. Renee doesn't look happy. Joe gets fired up and says when he puts Reigns to sleep tonight, takes the title, Reigns will understand that it may be his yard, but he lives in Joe's world. Joe walks off as Renee just stares at him. Braun Strowman versus Rhino for your next match. We go to the ring. Out comes Braun Strowman to a pop. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we get a video from Bayley, also confirming herself into the Women's Royal Rumble. Sasha was also confirmed from earlier. Bayley says she will hug her way to WrestleMania 34. Back to the ring, and out comes Rhino with Heath Slater. They lock up, and Braun sends Rhino away with shoves. Braun keeps control, but Slater keeps getting on the apron to cheer Rhino on and offer advice. Braun left the ring and takes the mic. He calls Slater a cheerleader and says he has 2 options. Stay on the floor or shut up and get in the ring. Take these hands like his partner. Fans pop for Braun as he returns to the ring. Slater looks like he may want to get involved. Rhino takes advantage of the distraction and attacks from behind, but it does nothing. Slater comes in for a double team now. Braun fought both men off, then nailed a running splash on both guys in the corner. Braun scoops Rhino and hits the running power slam for the win. After the match, Braun stands tall as the music hits. Fan chat one more time as Braun stands over Rhino. Slater comes in and brawls with Braun, but gets dominated. Braun with a running power slam to Slater. Fans want more, and Braun delivers. Planting Rhino in the middle ring again before his music hits. Braun scoops Slater again and drops him before standing tall. It looks like the segment was over, but Braun grabs Rhino for one more power slam. Fans go wild as Braun turns his attention to Slater again. Braun drives Slater into the mat once again and stands tall as the music starts as he backs up and out of the ring. So the come segment, Beast is here. We see Roman Reigns backstage getting ready for his match. Seth Rollins walks in, bringing up Joe's comments from earlier. Reigns isn't worried about Joe. and says, "There's one thing you don't do in this world: mess with their brother." Rollins just doesn't want to see Reigns get disqualified tonight so they can continue being champions together. Jason Jordan walks in and acknowledges their recent issues, but promises to take out the Bar if they try to interfere tonight. Jordan tosses a "believe that" at Reigns before walking off, leaving Reigns looking confused and Rollins with a smirk on his face. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we get more hyping for Raw 25th anniversary episode. We go backstage and we get Kane approaching Braun Strowman. Kane wants to talk about Brock Lesnar, who he's never faced, but Braun has. Kane says they are the alpha monsters of WWE, and together they can tame the beast. Kane says he has a plan, and all it takes is being on the same page. Braun doesn't care about Kane or his plan, as he's the only alpha monster around here. Braun says he's going to take down Brock on his own terms. They stare each other down, and Kane leaves. Kurt Angle backstage on the phone talking to someone about Women's Royal Rumble match when Finn Balor walks up. Balor talks about the Universal title and wanted to get it back. Balor announces himself for the Rumble match. Angle asks Balor if he's found partners for tonight. 6-man match against the Mr. Raj and Elias. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson appear. Angle asks if Balor is serious. Balor says he stood with these guys before, and it's much better than having them on your side. It sounds like fans in the arena are doing a "too sweet" chant. The club does an urge shout out before walking out. Intercontinental title match: Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns is up next. Go to ring. Out first comes Joe for his title shot. Back to commercial. Back from the ring, out comes Intercontinental Champion Roman Reigns. We get formal ring introductions from JoJo. Bell rings and Joe unloads with right hands, backing Reigns into the corner. Joe keeps control until Reigns fires back with right hands. Reigns with kicks in the corner. Fans do dueling chants. Referee ends up getting in between them. Joe takes advantage of the referee talking to Reigns and comes from the side, taking Reigns back down for a pin attempt. Joe with more offense and a stab suplex. Reigns goes to the floor for a breather as we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Reigns is trying to mount a comeback, but Joe unloads and drops him for a 2 count. Joe gets more strikes. Reigns counters with a suplex and drops Joe. Reigns charges in the corner, but Joe moves out of the way. Reigns hits the ring post. Joe gets a 2 count. Joe keeps Reigns grounded and focuses on the arm, more back and forth after another pin attempt by Joe. Joe with forearms and elbows. To the corner, Joe whips Reigns hard into the corner and goes right down. Joe keeps Reigns grounded again and focuses on the arm. Reigns finally explodes out of the corner and floors Joe. Referees count while they're both down. We get a replay of Reigns dropping Joe. Coleslaw reminds us that Reigns will lose the title if he's disqualified. Reigns then unloads in the corner with a big forearm as fans count. Reigns with a running boot to drive Joe out of the ring. Reigns nails the drive-by and keeps control to bring it back into the ring for a 2 count. Joe ends up turning around and nailing a big suicide dive to the floor. Both superstars are down again. Coleslaw wonders if Joe hurt himself on the dive. They end up back in the ring as we go to commercial. Back from the commercial, Joe ends up striking Reigns as Reigns tells him to bring it. Reigns catches Joe with a Samoan drop for a close 2 count. Reigns looks to build momentum, but Joe retreats to the floor. Joe turns it around on the floor and slams Reigns into the steel ring steps. Joe works Reigns over on the floor. Reigns counters and sends Joe into the steps now. Referee checks on Joe at ringside and returns to the ring to count. Reigns grabs half of the steel steps, but the referee comes back out to warn him. Joe decks Reigns with a punch. Reigns runs off the steel steps and nails him. Reigns brings it back into the ring and hits a Superman punch for a very close 2 count. Reigns can't believe it. Reigns gets hyped up and goes for the spear, but Joe kicks him. Reigns then counters a Uranagi, and the referee gets knocked down, but it was Joe's fault. Referee calls for the bell, but Reigns begs him. Joe tries to take advantage as they tangle. Joe then delivers a Uranagi, but Reigns kicks out just in time. Joe argues with the referee about how Reigns should have been disqualified. We get a replay of the referee bump. Reigns with a big right hand. Joe locks in a coquina clutch, but it's broken. Reigns fires back with a spear for the pin and the win. After the match, Reigns clutches the title while still on the mat. As his music starts up, we go to replays, Reigns celebrating and stands tall with the title. We see Kurt Angle backstage watching Reigns' celebration. Paul Heyman appears. Heyman says there's a conspiracy going on under Angle's watch. Heyman says just so they're on the same page, if Kane and Braun gang up on his client will be proactive and not reactive, as 2018 shall be the year of the beast. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we get a backstage video from Absolution. Paige, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose are all confirmed for the Rumble as well. And those are your SmackDown women. Jack Gallagher versus Hideo Itami is confirmed for this week's 205 Live show that's on Tuesday nights following SmackDown. We go to the ring and we get Drew Gulak out with Ari DeVere. Gulak is here to deliver a message from Cruiserweight Champion Enzo Amore, who is sick tonight. They're interrupted by Cedric Alexander. Alexander came to get his title shot tonight and to wrestle, but since Enzo is sick, he wonders who will take Enzo's place. Gulak says Cedric came looking for a competition, and they are happily obliged, but in a tag team match. Whoever walks down the ramp will be Cedric's partner, but they know Cedric doesn't have any friends. Music hits, and out comes Goldust. Goldust says he has friends in low places, but none are lower than these two. Goldust asks Cedric if he wants to be friends, and we got a match. DeVere starts off with Alexander, and they go at it. Cedric takes control, and Gulak wants none of them. DeVere takes advantage of a distraction and drops Cedric from behind. DeVere keeps Cedric grounded. Cedric ends up getting free and dropping DeVere with an elbow. Gulak tags in, as does Goldust. Goldust unloads. Gulak blocks the Bulldog, but Goldust hits him with the right hand. Goldust with a Bulldog. Goldust with more offense in the corner as the fan chant, "You still got it," at him. DeVere comes in, but Goldust goes to the top for a crossbody on both of them. Cedric tags in and nails a double springboard clothesline. DeVere gets sent out as Goldust goes at it with Gulak. Cedric hits a lumbar check on Gulak and covers for the pin. After the match, Goldust and Cedric celebrate as Cedric's music hits. The club is backstage, walking as we go to a commercial. Elias, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel versus Finn Balor, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. The club. Back from the break, Elias is already in the ring with a spotlight and his guitar. He talks about how WWE is his after what he did to John Cena last week. He goes on about winning the Royal Rumble and introduces his bandmates for tonight, the Miztourage. They dedicate the song to Miz, who will be returning next week. Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas start singing as Elias plays, and it's horrible. Elias takes over, but he's interrupted by Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Finn Balor was out next. They pose together in the ring with a "Too Sweet" as we go to commercial. Back from the break, Axel works over Balor. Elias tags in and unloads on Finn. Elias dominates Balor and covers for a 2 count. Elias keeps Balor grounded and talks some trash while working on his arm. Balor finally gets in a double stomp to turn around. Gallows tags in and unloads on Dallas as he also tags in. Gallows with a big boot and then a running splash to the corner. Gallows turns Dallas inside out with a big boot. Gallows runs the ropes and nails a big splash to the corner. Axel runs in, but Gallows drops him and sends him to the floor. Gallows runs the ropes and hits a splash for a 2 count. Elias broke up the pinfall. Anderson takes care of Elias and runs him into the ring post. Gallows goes back to work on Dallas. The finish sees Anderson tag in for a Magic Killer on Dallas. Balor tags in and hits a coup de grace on Dallas while Anderson leaps out onto Axel on the floor. Balor pins Dallas for the pinfall win. After the match, Club Santana will return to commercial. Back from the break, we get a promo for Miz returning for next week in Memphis. We go to the ring. Out comes Universal Champion Brock Lesnar for tonight's main event segment. Paul Heyman is right behind him. Lesnar hits the ring as Coleslaw shows us the earlier backstage segment with Kane and Braun Strowman, Lesnar's Royal Rumble opponents. Heyman does a quick introduction and goes in about conspiracy against Lesnar's reign, bringing up how has to defend against multiple challengers. Heyman goes on and has a spoiler. Lesnar will successfully defend the title at the Royal Rumble. Heyman goes on about Lesnar's dominance and says he fears no challenge. He fears no challenger. He fears no challengers. That's challenger, challengers, plural. He does not believe in monsters, and he highly doubts Kane is the devil's favorite because Heyman has had one-on-one with the guy down below, and his favorite is the reigning, undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Heyman gets fired up and drops the mic. Kind of like CM Punk. Pipe bomb. They go to leave the ring, but the pyro hits and out comes Kane. Lesnar steps back from the apron and watches from the middle of the ring as Kane enters. They face off and stare each other down for a second. Lesnar then goes at Kane, but Kane grabs him by the throat, chokeslam in the middle of the ring. Kane leaves the ring, but Lesnar sits up just like Kane would, also Undertaker style, and laughs. And gets up, he closes Kane out to the floor. The whole locker room is out now to ringside. Well, about 5 or 6 of them. Maybe 8 of them, not the whole locker room. Trying to break up a brawl that never really got started going. They all came down before the brawl started as Kurt Angle watched run ramp. More officials are down to break it up. Lesnar smiles as Kane is led to the back by the roster. Lesnar raises the title at ringside and smiles as his music hits. First Raw 2018 goes off the air with Lesnar raising the title at ringside. While Braun Strowman did not appear on this week's Raw main event segment that featured his Royal Rumble opponent, Kane, and the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, Strowman did come out for the dark match main event segment. Lesnar left with Paul Heyman after Kane made his exit soon after Raw went off the air. Strowman then came out and announced that he wanted to fight. The monster among men called out the big red machine, and the two brawled. Kane hit Braun with a steel chair and set up a table, but Braun blocked the chokeslam before power slamming Kane through the table. Braun then posed before leaving to send the crowd home happy. Braun did appear on Raw earlier, pinning Rhino in singles action and destroying both Rhino and Slater. And that concludes my results for Raw and your spoiler for main event. Thanks again. Peace out. See you one of you. If you don't know, just call me brothers and sisters.